All right, so we are here. Welcome. Let's get this started today. Super excited to be here. Waiting for Miss Peely to join us, and she has got a super show for us today. So let's get this moving. All right, so we are here. Got a great show. Peely's got coffee. She's happy.
Great cup of coffee. Show is secondary right now.
Secondary as is. So for that, happy Thursday. We got a super nice day here in New Jersey. I'm sure we're going to hear that because we have Ben Leibovich, who is in Phoenix, Arizona. So they always have a super nice day going on there. But today we want to focus on feeling lost, right? We've had a lot of conversations and a lot of people just missing what their day-to-day was before, and they're just having a time finding back what it is or what it is or what it was they wanted to do. So today we want to touch really on what are some ways we can find ourselves back on the road where we were before, or the new road that we need to be on.
Well, you start marking down a path. I mean, this is for those who do feel lost, who didn't feel, you know what? I'm going to tell you a story that I read about in a story. It's about two prisoners that were taken prisoner, and one prisoner used the time and like grabbed whatever he could. He grabbed a Bible, he grabbed some sheet music, and he was told to stay in this room. And he and his prisoner mate were told that you have to stay here. So the one prisoner took this time and, read the Bible, memorized scripture, and then the other prisoner just didn't do anything. This prisoner did push-ups every day. The other prisoner didn't do anything. This other prisoner, he took the time. He didn't have a piano, but he knew sheet music, so he pretended. So when he finally got out, he hugged his wife with the biggest hug possible and couldn't wait to show her the sheet music, while the other prisoner was lost and emaciated and just didn't know where his place was in life. So which person are you? Are you the one that finds a goal, finds those things to do every single day to keep them on path? Or are you the other prisoner who just lost his way and could not find his way back and now has to deal with a whole slew of after effects? So right now, in this time, if you are still in quarantine, there are still some states like the one we're in right now, or if you are even coming out and you're just like, okay, I have to find my way. I've lost my job. I have to find my way. I've kept my job, but I've lost my health. Find the path that you need to get on. Find guidance. Step on the path and have the courage to move forward.
So the challenge becomes, right? Okay, things have changed. So let's just label, right? So we're not going to go back to the exact same thing the way it was. We're not going to go back to, a lot of people are not going to go back to the same job. The business is going to change. You're going to have to adapt. So let's just label that as this is what it is. So, okay, we have the facts out there. We don't know exactly where we're going back to, but it is going to be different from where it is. So the challenge here is let's take where we are right now and act like this is day one. This is day one for us figuring everything out. This is day one for us taking action. This is day one for starting us on our journey to where we're going. Not that, oh, this happened to me, so now I have to react. No, you are in a position where this is where you are. So now you can just take action and not be in that point of having everything. You're not catching anymore. You're now on the offensive. So the part about now is if you're lost, well, nobody's going to come find you. You have to find your way out. This is, there's the great race, the Barclays, this ultramarathon race. And they say, listen, if you get hurt, you get stuck, find your way back, because within 30 years, we don't send out rescue crews, right? It's one of the most intensive 100-mile races. There's about something like 65,000 feet of elevation, and you have a 60-hour cap, and there's 5 different legs to run about 5 marathons. And there's been 15 finishers in a lot of years. Well, there's a certain reason here because it's so difficult, but you have to find your way in your course and your map, right? But no one's going to come find you. So you are going to be stuck out there finding your own journey, finding your own way through, and your preparation now, whether it's getting up, getting your mind right in the morning, getting active, looking at new ways to look at your business. This is going to set you apart and allow you to really take action and put this through.
So again, if you feel lost, take the action. It's going to be you that's going to have to find your way, whether it's you depend on yourself or you depend on great friends. And speaking about great friends,
we have Ben Leibovich, who is our good friend out in Arizona. He's very bullish in Arizona. We're gonna bring him on, and yeah, hey Ben, how we doing?
Hey
Ben,
guys,
you are on. And
how are you? How are
We are
you?
Doing
awesome.
awesome. Good morning.
Do we have a delay?
We have a slight delay,
Yes.
but we can roll with it here. So let's do this. Give us a little feedback about, first, give us a quick recap because people know you are, but for those who are listening here that haven't quite met Ben Leibovich before, give us a quick overview of who you are, and then talk to us about how multifamily in Arizona is really still keeping business as usual, still keeping performing.
Okay, not gonna talk about me for two reasons. One, if they don't know who I am, where the fuck have they been for the last decade? And two, it's beneath me to talk about me because my ego is about this big, and there's just no chance I can accept the notion that your audience doesn't know who I am. So they can Google me and figure it out if that's what needs to happen. Because, I don't really care what people think, so I'll say whatever. And you knew that and still invited me on, so there's obviously something wrong with you.
Well, we
as
knew
well.
we were bringing you on for your humility, so at least we're
Yes,
spot
my
on.
humility, yes. Okay, I think it's fair to say that depending on where you are right now, your experience going through this period has been very different. If you are in Arizona, in Texas, in Florida, you've had one experience. If you are in New York, in Jersey, in California, you've had a different kind of experience. So we got to be careful not to get, political about this, because clearly it's very easy in this conversation to get political because those experiences align perfectly with the political orientation of the municipalities that we're discussing. But we gotta stay away from that for the purposes of this conversation. Though when it comes to real estate, I think it's clearly evident that conservative states are going to recover quicker. They're going to open up quicker. They're going to bring employment back quicker. I am going to underline everything by saying that I am bullish on America. I have been to many other places in the world. There is no place like America. And we are going to recover from this very well, as a blanket statement. Clearly, I much prefer being in Arizona for a number of reasons. I cannot have this conversation about multifamily real estate without again separating the locality. All multifamily is not created equal. So we all have taken a hit to a certain extent. Let's just underline that baseline. Let's agree there has been an economic hit. To what extent, we don't know, but there's been an economic hit. If you are starting out with rent growth of 2%, then you're going to be negative. If you're starting out with rent growth of 8%, you're probably still going to be positive. That's just math. That's not been feeling whatever, feelings, emotions. It's just math. If we all take a 5 percentage point hit, then if you are at 8%, you're still going to be positive. At 2%, you're going to be negative. With that in mind, that's why I invest in a growth market, because of that kind of math. That's just kind of how it works. And the benefit of that is exactly what I just described. Of course, the kind of what makes it challenging is that everybody knows this. So the cap rates are compressed, and they were compressed before. They're still compressed now, um, and they will remain compressed because, as you know, cap rates are indicative of investor sentiment. And for the reason that the numbers work out the way that they do, people generally feel safer in a growth market than they do someplace else. And so it's more challenging to buy in a growth market because you have that very serious competition. You have those serious investors for whom preservation of capital is paramount. And that's the kind of market they go to, and that's what your competition is. That's where you're competing. So it's a yin and the yang. It's more difficult to be able to buy in a market like Phoenix than it is in a market like Louisville, for instance. But it's probably because as a investor universe, we have come together and decided, hey, we'd rather be in Phoenix than we would in Louisville, so we're going to pay more for Phoenix because of such fundamentals as rent growth, population growth, job growth. We'll pay a lower cap rate. So it's a yin and the yang. On the one hand, it's hard to get in. On the other hand, it probably sustains better in a cycle like this.
What has the lender environment or lending environment done to your short-term perspective on looking at deals, just in terms of them setting the reserve requirements and others? Has it transitioned anything in your business?
Yeah, so nothing. It's done nothing for. I can't find any deals because nobody will freaking sell. I mean, like, my collections have been on stabilized property. My collections have been between 98 and 105%. And the property that we bought 6 months ago has been at 90% plus still, which in an environment like this can be expected and is not calamity at all. So nobody wants to sell. Everybody's happy to have what they have, and nobody wants to sell. No, sellers don't really believe that they can get a fair deal done. I'm happy to get a fair deal done. I'm not looking for discounts.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get a fair deal done. I'm still bullish as hell on Phoenix.
Why do you think the sellers are being so?
Well, because they don't believe that a buyer exists out there walking this earth that is willing to have a fair transaction without cutting them down at their knees.
Do you feel it's also the replacement for the product they have? Where are they going to put their funds?
Potentially, but I don't think that's it, because there's two kind of investors. There's owner managers, and then there's institutional investors. When I say owner managers, this is somebody who can have 3,000 units. They can be institutional in the way they operate, but it's a family business, and they didn't buy it to ever sell it. And then the institutional approach is, here's my investment return hurdles. When I hit those hurdles, I need to get out. So vast majority of investors are institutional in nature. The perspective is not, we're going to hold forever. The perspective is, hey, let's follow the business plan, let's execute, let's hit our targets, and then let's get out and do it again because we've maximized. That's majority of people. So I think people would still sell, which is probably validated by the fact that in March, there was a lot of activity. In April, it was dead. But in March, there was a lot of activity. So people were selling, and people would like to sell. It's just there's a very wide disconnect between buyers who think they deserve a discount and sellers who say, no freaking way, dude.
Is there other markets outside of Phoenix? Since Phoenix right now, it's got a high barrier to entry, and maybe just there's not enough product right now for you to really dive into. Are you looking at other markets within Arizona, or are you strictly just staying in your confines?
I'm in Phoenix because Arizona is kind of like, if you take Phoenix out of Arizona, there's nothing else. I mean, Tucson you know, there's just nothing else. So if I was just buying for myself, buying with cash flow in mind, and I was just one of those guys, then yeah, there are plenty of places you can buy in Arizona. Nothing I'm interested in terms of putting people's money in.
What other markets compare to a Phoenix across the country that you think other investors are maybe?
Well, I don't think any market's compared to Phoenix. Like, there's a reason why I'm in Phoenix. But, you could go to Florida. You could go to Denver. You could go to Atlanta. You could go, I mean, a research angle in the Carolinas. There are markets. If you look at the economy and you imagine it as a wave, as a sine wave, there are markets that are causing the wave, and then there are markets that are riding the wave. Only a few markets cause the wave. Majority of the markets ride the wave. And so all I'm saying is you want to be in one markets that cause the wave, that have intrinsic strength for one reason or another, relative to population growth, relative to why there's going to be high-tech growth, relative to those kind of things. Clearly, in my opinion, this current experience has shown us a difference in the government's response, state to state. And I think a lot of it falls down party lines. And I think that people are going to think about that because, stressful times happen, whether it's pandemic or something else, and how draconian the response is and how much it impacts business and life probably plays into people's decision where they want to live. So I think markets like Florida and Arizona and Texas, they're going to escalate. People were moving in droves there, but people are going to continue to move in droves and probably expedite that process.
Let me ask you a question here about just a lot of product, may come from overseas, and now that we might see a potential ability to have a lot of that stuff made at home, do you see secondary lines of multifamily extensions? Do you see the ability to start looking at other ways that you can maximize, sourcing your own product, becoming that distributor, or other points that could now be an advantage where before they were completely overpriced?
I don't know that anything built in America can be less expensive than anything built in China. At the end of the day, if you think you're going to build it in America and build it for less, you're kidding yourself. Now, we should spend more and build it in America. We've pumped enough money into the economy where there's enough dollars floating around. We can afford for prices on different things to go up. Unfortunately for me, if I've got, $10 million of CapEx that's already programmed for the next 2 years, and I'm through 4 of it, and I still have to bang out 6 of it, and it involves purchasing cabinets from a distributor that's buying them from China. If I don't have that, my pricing goes up on that. That's unfortunate for me. I'll find a way. That's why, we're well capitalized to handle that. But going forward, I don't see any issue with underwriting a little more for that. I mean, we'll adjust. I mean, for the purposes of what's good for this country, it's just something that needs to happen.
So let's talk a little bit not on real estate.
Hi, Keely.
Hi, Ben. Sorry I had to walk away just as you were talking. I was like, Ben's talking. I'm going to go now.
Well, he said he's not telling anybody anything. They have to Google him. So
Perfect, as I would expect. But I do want to know a little bit more about your mindset. So we were talking a little bit about a lot of people are feeling lost right now. Obviously not you, obviously not your wife, and your children are wonderful. And you guys found your way. I'm sure you guys took a moment and then just kind of, I think we've had this discussion, like nothing changed, but everything changed at the same time. So what's your advice? and I ask this very cautiously. What's your advice to those who have and ready?
Are we going to talk about this bullshit now for the next 30 minutes? Please, you're killing me.
I want to know your advice, Ben, because
I don't have an advice.
You're no person, so I want your advice. I want you to give.
I don't have advice. Listen, you guys are living in the middle of a freaking dump called New Jersey. So what do? You do burpees and you run 50 million. By the way, I was thinking about it this morning. As much as Jason runs, he could run from Jersey to Arizona in the scope of 4 days. So don't even tell me, oh, we can't go, we can't move, pandemic, this, that, and that. You can fucking run, okay?
I did that challenge in April. I actually added up the miles, and it got me to South Carolina. So for that, I could have ran to South Carolina.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, no excuses. Listen, I hate to get involved with motivation.
Mm-hmm.
It's all internal. There is nothing anyone can say or do to change somebody's perception of their reality.
No, I agree. I think motivation gets a rap here, right? Where people think, well, I just need to get motivated. So like, oh, I got a song that comes on, I'm all motivated, but it just as quickly as it comes, it goes away, right? So you have to define it that you're going to choose within yourself, take that step and go forward, because nothing outside of you is going to show up and you're motivated.
I think you have to be a winner. I think it's impossible to stay motivated if you're not winning. And in order to be a winner, you have to be honest with yourself, understand your strength, define your unfair competitive advantage, mitigate your weaknesses. It's not a mindset. It's never a mindset. We've all faked it till we made it. All of us. You just, it's, I don't know. It's a waste of my time. I will not allow myself to spend 15 minutes to take it away from my kids. I got a remodel going on in my kitchen because I'm putting in a $7,000 refrigerator because, Miss Patricia says, I need a $7,000 refrigerator. And Mr. Ben says, yes, dear. Let me put that in for you with a bow on it. So I am not going to sit here and discuss with you guys how to take people who don't know how to be productive, how to motivate themselves, and try to take 15 minutes out of my life to convince them otherwise. You don't want to do it, fuck yourself. Go be a loser. Go do whatever, I'm just, you guys, it's really simple. I'm not Zig Ziglar. I don't pretend to be. I'm a real estate guy. You got to fake it. You got to fake it till you make it. If you
we started with Ben here, we knew we were going to get a real answer today. So for that point, sometimes you need to hear it out loud that things are the way that things go.
It's interesting. Over the last month, I've sold more courses on my website than I've sold in the last 6 months before then. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't do any advertising. I don't do any marketing. I have no idea why that's happening. I have zero idea. I wrote 3 articles on Bigger Pockets in the last 3 months. Yeah. And but I don't make it a point, I make money in real estate. I don't make it a point to create my persona, and I could name names. This bullshit just pisses me off. Go fucking do something and then talk about it. Okay? We all know who those names are. I'm not going to say them, obviously, but I don't want to do that. It's beneath me. It's repulsive. It's revolting. I don't know how many other kind of negative terms to describe this, but you know what? Life is full of shitty compromises, dude. It just is. It's hard and it sucks most of the time. What you do with it is up to you.
That's right.
I'm laughing because I kind of knew you were going to say something to this effect, and I just wanted to hear it because, guys, Okay, I read something else in a book. Inspiration and motivation will only get you this far. Sometimes aspiration can get you further. If I was just starting, I would aspire to be Ben. I would aspire to be this guy over here.
Yeah, I can
He's
see
so
why.
cute, number one. And number two, because he doesn't take the BS. He doesn't get lost. And if he does, he figures it out really, really quick and takes the next step forward. So you got to aspire to be that guy over there. I don't know where I'm pointing anymore.
Well, Ben, we are coming up on our half-hour mark, and this will have to wrap up. Has been our longest second cup of coffee live, which I think speaks to the context of what we enjoy with Ben. But we will see you soon in Phoenix, and we will enjoy it. And on that fact, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ben.
We'll catch you later, Ben.
Bye.
So I just said we knew we were going to get a ton of great stuff from Ben. As you see, he doesn't sugarcoat it, and sometimes that's exactly what you need, right? Sometimes we sit on the sideline thinking, oh, woe is us, woe is me, woe is everybody else, and I guess I could stop filming ourselves while we're filming ourselves, which is a whole different light there. But now is the time to take action, because when is not the time to take action? When is not the time to sit on that sideline and really just get moving, right? Because no one's going to come save you. No one's going to come do it. And like Ben said, I'm not going to spend 15 minutes wasting my time when I could just be doing, right? So for you today, that is. So let's get after it. Let's get going. Our
challenge to you today is go do.
Go do.
And if you love what you heard, please rate, review, subscribe, and just be awesome.
All right. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
I almost forgot, but
motivate people. You do motivate people with your unmotivation. So everyone who's listening right now, do get out of the doldrums of not doing. Get out there and do. Just do. And have your second cup of coffee.